You're overcome by your testimony by the blood of the Lamb. Praise Yahuah. House of Restoration welcome you to the Threshing Floor today. Hello guys. Today we just going to talk about being a testimony, being a witness, having someone to tell you that they confirm that your testimony has given me light to carry on, being proof of Yahuah, and having the manifestation that he's still alive. So today we're going to go in depth about different people's testimony, how we have come out of the darkness into his light. Because he said we are children of the light and not of the dark. So we're just going to go in and talk about how we're going to go from three things. The first one is that we're going to do a testimony of your faith. Our faith on today. The second one, we're going to do evidence to his devotion. That we're going to do being a witness to his devotion to us. The third one, we're going to tell how strong his evidence was, his victory to us. So many times that we go on our day-to-day basis that we come in contact with somebody, or we go and we walk and we be like, whoa, this is a testimony of how good he is. The greatest testimony is that day by day he wakes us up. Because we don't have to wake up. But by his power, his grace, his love, his mercy, his unmerited favor, he wakes us up each and every morning. Because somewhere, somebody needs us. We have to go out and be in the light and example. We have to go out because he has preserved us for this day. To go out and let someone know that he's still alive by doing our testimony. So many times we are ashamed of our testimony. But we're going to go to a scripture in Revelation chapter 12 verse 10. It tells us, but I think I'm going to start. I'm going to start at verse 10. I'm going to read from three different scriptures. The first one I'm coming from the complete Jewish Bible. And it said in Revelation chapter 12 verse 10. Now have come God's victory, power and kingship, and the authority of his Messiah. Because the accuser of our brothers, who accuses them day and night before God, has been thrown out. Our accuser, you guys know, is Satan. Some people call him the devil. But he's our accuser. They defeated him because of the Lamb's blood. And because of the message of their witness. Even when facing death, they did not cling to life. Therefore rejoice, heaven, and you who live there. But woe to you, land and sea, for the adversary has come down to you, and he is very angry, because he knows that this time is short. His time is short, so he's angry at us in the land. In the King James Version, it tells us, starting at Revelation chapter 12 verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of thy brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcome him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony. And they love not their lives unto death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he has but a short time. If my husband don't mind, do you mind reading from what it says in the scriptures?
And I heard a loud voice saying in the heaven, now have come the deliverance and power and the reign of our Elohim, and authority of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brothers, who accused them before our Elohim day and night, has been thrown down. And they overcame him because of the blood of the Lamb and because of the word of their witness. And they did not love their lives to death. Because of this, rejoice, O heaven, and you who dwell in them. Woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has come down to you, having great wrath, knowing that he has a little time.
He has a short time, people, to accomplish what he has to set out to do. In I think it's 1 Peter chapter 5. I know it's 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. It tells us, be sober, be vigilant, for our adversary, Satan, cometh like a roaring lion, seeking who he may devour. We must be sober in these days. It's no time to be slacking. It's time, I heard 2 days ago in prayer, it's time that we awaken. He said his children are fin to be awakened. Yahuah is fin to awaken the body of Yahusha. Those who are not doing what they're supposed to do, who make up the body of Yahusha. It's time that we awaken. It's time that we come out of this slumbering state. It's time that we do what we're supposed to be doing. It's time for us to stay on the walls. It's time for us to be prayer warriors, intercessors. It's time for us to proclaim his gospel. It's time for us to be a witness before those who don't know him in the part of their sins. And how do we be a witness? By telling our testimony. It's no time to be ashamed. It's time for us to tell our testimony. And the only way people would know that he is alive is through our testimony. It says that when the children of Israel was coming across, when he brought them out of bondage, it says that he brought them out with a powerful right hand. Hallelujah. It says, hallelujah, when Hannah was praying for a child, he began to tell her. She spoke it with her mouth closed. And he began to tell her that she would have a child. She began to say, if you give me one, I will give him back to you. This day and age, we need to start giving our children, our kids, everything we own back to Yahuah. Because the earth is his and the fullness thereof. It belongs to him first. This morning when I woke up, I had 3 plants. I'm trying to grow, and I began to say, Yahuah, I give these plants, these flowers back unto you. Because you know how to grow them better than I do. Teach me. It's time for us to train our children up in the way they should go. When they get old, they shall not depart. Hannah began to take Samuel she took him to the temple. Each year she brought him a coat. She went and saw him each year because she knew if he gave, she had to do her, she was a witness. She had to do what she's supposed to do. He honored her with a kid. So she said, I promise you that I was going to give it back, and I'm giving you my child back unto you. And it said in those days it was scarce to hear the word from Yahuah. But Samuel heard him. He was a witness. He was a prophet for him. We also have Solomon. When he came to Solomon in a night vision, a dream, he began to talk to Solomon. And he asked Solomon, what do you desire? Solomon said, I would like wisdom. So they say that he began to give Solomon wisdom, but because Solomon asked for nothing else but wisdom, he was the richest man ever known. We got to ask for wisdom, because wisdom will help us to discern right from wrong. Wisdom will teach us. And we know in the word it always called wisdom her. It is good to have wisdom. Because in this day, we need to know how to test the spirit by the spirit. And the only way we can do that is by the Ruach HaKodesh, having one of the gifts of the spirit, that's wisdom. So you guys, we're going to tell a few of our testimony. Praise Yahuah. Who all do we have on the phone line on today? Praise him. Hallelujah. The first one, we're going to start a testimony of. Did you have anything to say?
All right. So when I were researching that word testimony, I had several different meanings in Hebrew where you could find that word eduth, which is testimony. Remember, what did he give them? The ark of what? The testimony. The ark of the testimony is actually what it was translated to. It was eduth, which would be the ark of the covenant, which is the same thing. It's a recording.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so where you get that word "I" is two words that make up the word eduth. Okay, so "I" meaning evidence, witness, or recorder, and "ud" to duplicate or repeat, to protest or testify, restore, approve, make known, and listen to this, lift up. Who said, if I be lifted up from the earth? See, that was the testimony that was coming from his what?
Yes.
From his going to the stake. But it was also a testimony that came forth, which was recorded, that he will be raised from the dead on the third day. Okay? And then you also have things that were made known, because it said when he rose from the earth, other saints in Jerusalem rose with him. Not only that, but there were two walking on the road that he showed himself to.
Yes,
it was the 12 that he showed himself to. He showed himself to many different ones before he ascended to the Father.
Amen.
So therefore he made himself known unto them. And then when he told them to go to Jerusalem until the festival came, which would be Shavuot, which was just like what we're about to experience here in a couple weeks. He told them to wait on his coming again. Yes, but he would come what? In the Spirit this time.
Yes.
And when the Spirit will come, the Spirit will be what? A witness to your testimony. So that's why testimony is so important. Because not only did Yah give his testimony through the ark of the testimony, recording things that he had done or had things recorded, but even this, remember when Yahuah, which is Jeremiah, remember whenever he went and spoke, he had what? A recorder, a scribe. That's what a scribe is. They're a recorder. They keep things. And so this is how we get our scriptures, you know. And so I say to those of you that's out there that may not recognize, those of you on Remnant TV, by the way, y'all, we have Remnant TV, part of Remnant House. That's a good thing that, you know, when you join the Remnant House, you're not alone, but you are part of the Remnant. And I just thank y'all for allowing us to be a part of that blessed house. Amen. But we have to look at, you know, when it comes to the testimony, the recorder is the one, or the scribe is the one that's keeping the testimony. That's why I say this. It is important to write down your dreams of the things that Yah shows you. It's important to, you know, write down those times when you may be going through and you hear the still small voice come through and give you a word. It's important in times when you're in the midst of adversity, or even when you have good things going on, to tell that to somebody, because they may be going through similar things and they just don't know how to get through. I know last night I was on the discussion board once again on Remnant House, you know, and it was this I can't remember her name. And I don't care to disclose her name anyway while we're, you know, recording, which is a testimony this is, because we're recording it. Amen. She was just talking about how, you know, things, you know, go, and she sounded like she was kind of new to, like, a babe, because the way she was describing, you know, how you know, everything is, when you're so new to walking in the Spirit, like, you're so sensitive in areas that you could hear the enemy's voice that drop, you know, just whatever you're doing, you're trying to sleep, you can't sleep because you constantly, you know, going in and out of the spiritual realm. And she was saying how she, you know, was just kind of, you know, it kind of made her fearful. And I just gave her a testimony on, hey, been there. I understand exactly what you're going through, you know. And that's why, you know, we are to be together, you know, to be able to lift up. Remember, we must carry one another's burden. Amen. And so therefore, sometimes we become a testimony for each other, a witness for one another through the Ruach to help each other move and go forward and press on. Because remember this, when Apostle Paul or Shaul was at he was at another place trying to give the people, you know, a word, and they wasn't getting in, they wasn't, you know, it was like he was just speaking in one ear, speaking and then going in one ear and coming out. It took the support of another house that he had already established to keep him strengthened, you know. So sometimes it takes that, you know, support of one another. We become each other's testimony.
Amen.
And therefore we can go and say, you know what, I know my brother, you know, he's just going through this right now, you know. But then you have certain people where you like, hold on, that, you know, was this person deceiving me from this whole time? And so you begin to play back in your mind, and the Spirit will witness to you.
Yes.
You know, if that person was playing games with you, what their agenda was, and everything. So I mean, this is really, really eye-opening to understand. You know, the root words that bring forth what Yahuah was doing, and how he would duplicate not just the fact that he created YAHUSHA, you know, he did it the same way that he created, except he still used the elements of the earth through the woman, but instead of bringing it straight from the ground, he had a vessel that he was able to implant, you know, and he brought forth the second Adam.
Yes.
And then not only did YAHUSHA, he came through and he lived a life just like we live, and nobody could say that he wasn't he was flesh and blood, but he walked in the Spirit.
Amen.
You know, so I mean, his life is a testimony. You know, people try to, well, how can you prove that he lived, and how can you this, and how? I mean, is it in the historical record that he lived? I mean, they still can't hide the fact that they tried to hide his death, or what, you know. I mean, hide his resurrection through changing days and through, you know. I mean, why go to that extent if it wasn't real, you know? And so therefore, we have a witness that how we know it. And a lot of people, when they ask that question, they don't have the witness. So that they, you know, they don't have that assurance.
They haven't had the visitation from
Exactly, they don't have that assurance. So it to them it's just like, oh, that's just a fairy tale. They believe in Dungeons and Dragons, which, I mean, you can't put dragons to a myth neither, you know, because there's just certain things that have been hidden throughout. They've been trying to hide it for so long that now it's becoming exposed. And even when you look at the things that Yah is doing, revealing in the light that was hidden in the darkness, things that are happening. See, his testimony of truth is coming to light. You know, if you walk in utter darkness, and then put it like this: you can't live a lie and walk in the truth. You can't live a lie and walk in the truth. It just ain't gonna happen. Because, I mean, you're either a light bearer or a bringer of darkness. And most people that claim to be walking in truth are enshrouded in darkness, to the point when, I mean, they don't have a testimony to give to protest, because that's another word, to protest. I mean, you have things, YAHUSHA could protest the things that he did, those things that manifested, those things that came forth. So I mean, it's evidence and it's made clear. Remember this: faith is what?
The subsequent things hoped for.
The evidence of things not seen. So therefore, once the substance of things hoped for is produced, now you have evidence of something that was not seen. So now you got a testimony to present.
Amen. Amen. Yes, ma'am, you can.
Praise the Lord. You know, in John 20, verse 29, This is the scripture where Thomas didn't see Jesus, but he wanted to put his finger
Amen.
in his hand to his side, and 2029 reads like this. Jesus said unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen,
Amen.
and yet have believed. And see, that's for us.
Amen.
Because we cannot see him, but we believe in him. You know, when we're talking about testimonies, I had a dream one time, and I dreamt about this black dog coming to me. You know, you have those dreams where you can't talk.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
mean, you try, you can't scream, you can't talk, you can't do anything. But this dog came to me, was coming towards me, and I couldn't say anything, but all I could think was Jesus,
Yes.
or Yahusha.
Yes.
All I could think was Jesus. And you know how Jesus, when he want to get your attention, he says, verily, verily, he repeats himself.
Amen.
Yes.
Well, this
Amen.
dog came to me at least 2 times, and all I could think was Jesus.
Yes, ma'am.
And I told my husband about it. He said, well, you know how later on things reveal itself. So later on that day, I was downtown, and I had to cross the street. I was on First Street, and First Street is a wide street, but if you go to the corner, it kind of thins out. So anyway, I had to tie my shoe because my shoes was untied. Well, I tied my shoes, and instead of obeying the Spirit of the Lord to go to the corner and cross the street, I didn't. I didn't see anything coming, so I was crossing the street right where I was. Disobedience, jaywalking. I got to the middle of the street, and this black truck was coming towards me, and all I could think was Jesus.
Yes.
And this truck stopped, and you know, normally when you see something coming, you just continue to run.
Yes.
But I stopped, and the truck stopped, and we just looked at each other, and then we crossed the street. And then when I crossed the street, I said, Lord, what just happened? He said, I saw an angel between you and that truck. And then I thought about, all I could think was Jesus. All I could think was Jesus.
Yes.
And when I told my husband about it, he said, remember you had that dream? And when something black came to you, all you could think was Jesus.
Wow.
And it stopped.
Thank you,
That dog
YAHUSHA.
stopped coming
Yes.
towards me when I dreamt that. He said, that was your dream this morning.
Yes.
All I could think was all I could think was Jesus. And that truck stopped. And it was a black truck.
Yes.
And even in my disobedience, God still blessed me. He said, I said, an angel between you and that truck. And I just cried. All I did was cry. Thank you, Jesus. Even my disobedience, you still bless me. And I'm not telling anybody to be disobedient. We have to be very keen to the Spirit of the Lord. Because that truck was came out of nowhere. It came so fast, it could have killed me or hurt me really bad.
Yes.
And that's why, when I think about it, I just glorify the Lord. I glorify God because He blessed me.
Thank you,
We have to be
Yahushua.
very keen to the Spirit. We
Yes.
got to be keen to the Spirit and be obedient.
Yes.
And there are times when I know that I'm obeying the Spirit. I say, thank you that I listened to you.
Yes.
And things when you don't listen, go to that corner instead of this one. And then you wish you had gone. I said, Lord, forgive me for not being obedient. I like that right there. I say, Lord, forgive me for being disobedient. But please don't stop speaking to me. That's very important. We need to speak to us all the time.
Amen.
And I just thank God for that. Amen.
Amen. And you know, that's one of the things he says, evidence to his devotion. He's devoted to keeping his children protected. He's devoted to keeping them shielded from the wiles and schemes of the devil. And see, that what the enemy is always trying to attack us, trying to annihilate us. The word tells us he comes to kill, to steal, and to destroy us. But thank you, Yahusha, for coming to give us life and life more abundantly. Because if it wasn't for him, who knows how that truck, like you said, that truck could have killed you. But he sent you a dream. That's how he be a witness to us with the Ruach HaKodesh. He will send us dreams and vision in the spirit.
But you know, it also attests to, because the root word ood and eduth mean to approve. It also approves that you're sealed by Yah.
Yes.
You know, you're under His hand. The only thing is, when it comes down to what you were saying about being obedient, that remember the word testimony start out with what? Test. A lot of times we being put to the test, so that we can have a testimony to give.
Yes.
Now, even in your disobedience, you had a testimony to give of how good y'all was. Remember this: David was disobedient.
Yes, he was.
But he still had a testimony afterward, because who came forth from that? Solomon. So even though, you know, in our disobedience, and we're not telling nobody to be disobedient, but even y'all can still use that to bring forth a testimony. But it's the thing, when we give that testimony, we should have learned from that experience, so that therefore we could teach somebody else along the way. You know, hey, listen, I can attest to this. If you go that route, this is what's gonna happen. I'm telling you, but it's just awesome, because when we look at what Yahusha came to do, He came to do what? Restore. And that's another part. That's another part of that word. Eduth. He came to restore. So when He restored, He renewed the testimony. He renewed y'all's testimony. So in a sense, you know how people break up? And some people, you might have a marriage that broke up. But then later on they decide to renew. So that's what y'all did. He renewed His marriage with His people. And He did it through Yahusha. And so now therefore anybody that is washed under the blood has a front row, they can be face to face with Him now. Instead of, having to go to because that's your high priest now.
Amen.
So, He came and He restored everything. And a lot of people like to say He removed this, and He didn't remove anything.
He said
He just restored.
Amen.
We put the wrong, R's in that place. He came to restore, He came to resurrect, He came to do what? Give us life, life more abundantly. So, when we live it according to what He told us to do, there's no way that you can't say that the power that comes behind the Ruach that Yahuah, Yahusha, HaMashiach had placed in you isn't, it isn't alive.
Amen. And when you were saying restore, in Acts, because I was doing a devotion on that, in Acts chapter 9, verse 12, when it talks about Ananias having to go lay hands on Paul, at first it was Saul, but he changed his name to Paul, Shaul, and he began to tell him, and had seen in a vision a man named Ananias coming in and putting his hands on him that he might receive his sight. A lot of times, Yahusha will restore our sight. He had to restore his sight to original condition. A lot of times we, doing our testimony, are restoring people to their original condition. That means coming back into the sheepfold. We're no longer living in that darkness state. He's bringing us back to life. He returned us, like Wes was saying, He's returning us back unto Him. Putting together what is being torn. This has been a schism in His body. It has been a schism in His people. So many times we up there, we going against each other. Why are we fighting each other? Because the enemy got us thinking that we should be jealous of each other. We should be fornicating against each other. We should be envy, rioting. All the flesh of the works. We walking in the flesh and not in the spirit. In His Ruach. And it's time that we reintroduce ourselves to Him. It's time that we let him revive us, strengthen us, regenerate our spirit man within. Make us new. He said he comes to make all things new. And that means this vessel that we're in, we need to get rid of this old, broke down vessel so he can put in all new things inside of us. That means a new love, a new hearing, a new eyes to see into the spiritual realm, a new mouth to speak, new hands, so when we lay hands on people, they will be anointed and not dirty and filthy, because we don't touch something that we didn't have no business touching. New feet, so we may walk in peace and not run to mischief. These are things he comes to make new, and the only way he can do that is by we being a light unto the Gentiles. Going out telling them. I'm enjoying this so much because we all have been where the people, unbelievers are, the infidels are. We all have been there. We was once those who, when the witness came and we rejected the witnesses. I know I was one. At a young age, I had 2 witnesses come, started taking me to church. I started sitting up under them. And as I got older, when I turned 13, I started to stray away because I'm thinking, how can I'm person in my home and people not know that I'm being molested? How can people not see the signs there in my life? How can a teacher not tell? How can my own mother not tell? What is going on? And you God, and I told God, I said, you God want me to sit in a church and believe what they're telling me, what I'm hearing? So I began to stray away. Because I'm like, how can God allow this to happen to me if he said he loved me? But along the way, along my journey in life, I began, every time I met somebody, they always threw the Bible at me. And it started with Jalen, my son's dad, Jeff. It started with him. He began to throw the Bible at me. It's like I couldn't get away. And then I met my husband, Wes. At the time he was my boyfriend. He began to throw the Bible at me. And I'm like, I can't get away from the Bible. But one thing me and Wes had come to realization, we was tired of fussing, we were tired of fighting. We were like, we got to find something new. We got to do something. And instantly the Spirit both told us, it's time that we go to church. Told us at the same time. So guys, he ain't gonna tell the wife one thing and tell the husband something different. That is not how YAHUSHA works. Yahuah will confirm through the husband and wife both at the same time. That's why he said, how can 2 walk together except they being agreed? So when we walking together, me and Wes, we always pray. We like, if he ain't told you, he's not going to tell me. We're going to be on confirm. We're going to ask him to confirm through one of us what we have prayed about. And we began to go to church, and we began to sit up under anointing. And as we began to sit up under anointing, Yahuah began to teach us. And as he began to teach us, the priest of the home, he began to unlock scriptures unto Wes, which he was already trained up in the way that he should go by his mother and father. And I'm so thankful that I have a priest in my home. I'm so thankful that his mom and dad started training him up. And we all have testimonies. Let's talk about the testimony of our faith. My testimony, I'm going to go first. My testimony of my faith was when I started having problems with my foot, my knees, my legs. So I began to go to the emergency room. And at this time, me and Wes was not married. I used to have miscarriage after miscarriage. I prayed this prayer. I said, and I prayed in faith. But I just prayed it. And I said, Father, and at the time I was calling YAHUSHA Jesus. I said, Jesus, if it's in your will, let me have a baby. But don't let me be over 40. Woman, let me be 40, so when I turn 60, he'll be 20. Let me live to see him be an old age. Being an older kid. Because I know I'm getting old in life. So I said this prayer, forgot about the prayer. But see, God, Yahuah, he honors your prayer request if you say it in faith. And at the time, I was not saved. At the time, I was not baptized in his name. At the time, I wasn't even going to church. I had just recently started going to church.
Go down and sit down.
And so as we began to get up under anointing, as we began to seek his face, turn from our wicked ways, we had to turn from our wicked ways. We had to let go of some stuff. We had to let go of some things. We had to stop fussing and fighting. We had to humble ourselves. And he began to honor our requests. We were sitting there, and I was sitting there, and then the lady come in and asked me how about the doctor come in. Not the lady, the doctor came in, and she asked. She said, "Has you got your x-ray did?" I said, "No, ma'am, I haven't." She said, "But you can't get no x-ray." I'm like, "Oh, you know what my problem is?" She said, "Yes, you're pregnant." I said, "Oh," I held my face up because I'm like, and then the Ruach instantly spoke to me. "You said this prayer 3 years ago, and I haven't told my husband that yet till then. And I honored your request because he knew that we was going to get married and we were going to do things the right way." That's when he honored our request.
Amen.
And that was out of faith. That is my testimony of faith.
Amen. So y'all see the little brat that's running in and out the video. That's Emmanuel. Actually, his name is Emmanuel John Elijah Smith. So he will be Emmanuel Yahuah Eliyahu Smith. So, and anyways, fun testimony on that whole thing. So, I came home one day and I told my wife, I said, "Hey, if we have a child, he's gonna be a boy," and I was told to name him Emmanuel. Yes. So this is before she even was conceived. I just, tell her what the Spirit said to me. So one night we went to a service, and the Ruach took her over completely. And what came out of her mouth was, "Wesley, this is no longer Tamika. This is, at the time he announced himself as God, the Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Speaking to you, the living God." And he started revealing things to me from my past that I never told her. Started revealing things, with my family that I never told us. And then he just came out and said, "You will have a son." Yes. Well, he didn't say son. He said, "You will have a child. Don't worry about how you will take care of him. Just know that he will want for nothing." So, then all of a sudden it ties into what she just said. We go to the doctor and we find out that she had conceived. Well, if any of y'all been following on Witnesses of Yahuah, because we also have a YouTube channel called Witnesses of Yahuah, and then now we have Blessed One Remnant TV. Okay, so anyway, if you follow the YouTube channel, I do Abraham Chronicles. Those are a series of testimonies. And I would like other people's testimonies. If you would like to do a testimony, just email us at witnessesofyahuah.com.
Amen.
I'm sorry, it'll be Witnesses of Yahuah email YouTube channel. You can go on there and you can comment on that if you want to do a testimony. But I did a testimony on how we went through a rigorous testing at the time that he was conceived because she was high risk. She had high blood pressure. It was so many different things. Eclampsia could have kicked in, whatever it was, and even she did. She after he was born, she lost her life for a second, but y'all revived her.
3 times.
We went through. It was a rigorous training, and all we could do was thank him for blessing us with his seed, because we were told that he come from the line of David. So he is a blessing. He even before we started this recording today, he told us, he said, let me anoint your head. And even before I go to work, he liked praying with me. And he just like any other child. He does things as a child, but then at times there's certain areas in his life where we can see the Ruach moving on him. Back last year when those Hurricane Irma came, he had told us a couple weeks before, he said, "That is a hurricane. It's a big hurricane coming." And every time he does this, we just automatically go into prayer because we know that, I mean, one time he said, I saw a plane crash, and then on the news we see, so after we started seeing these things that he would, see manifesting, and his visions or whatever it is, you know, we learned to just start praying behind it because we know truly that the Ruach of Yahuah is working in him and through him. And we know that he placed him here in this earth to help restore the remnant. Amen. Because he's bringing forth a Josiah generation, a YAHUSHA generation, which is YAHUSHA son of Nun, which would be Joshua in your Bible, a David generation, those that's gonna do it the right way, not be institutionalized by the things of that's brought up in the building which we call the church. But he gonna do it according to Acts 2:42 through 47. He gonna do it the proper way. And that's what House of Restoration is here. We're here to help restore order. We're here to be a witness and as y'all notice, our YouTube channel is called Witnesses of Yahuah. It's the fact that we could testify what he's doing. So I mean, just knowing that he allowed what we went through for him with him while she was pregnant, and you know she couldn't even lay on her back because it was a chance of miscarriage. She was so uncomfortable throughout the whole thing, but she took it like a champion. And even when he came, you know, afterward the enemy tried to kill her because her body got infected because we didn't hold it against the doctor. He messed up. He left some of the placenta in him. But the smart thing about it is the Ruach dealt with the baby where the baby wouldn't drink the milk because we were wondering why he wouldn't drink her breast milk, and it was because she was infected. And even after all that, you know, we just prayed. The doctor was worried that we were gonna, you know, try to do a lawsuit on him, but we prayed with him and told him no. That the father he hadn't told us to do that. We think y'all that you and I told him, we look at it like this, you saved her life twice. Yeah. So I mean, even through that whole thing, you know, we just have to thank Yahuah for being there because they told us that he would have Down syndrome, that he probably would be mentally challenged. They told us a number of things, but at 3 years old he can count to 10. Say his colors, shapes. I mean, and still to this day he say things that just, you know, out of this world. It's from the kingdom. You know, this is something that a 5-year-old knows. So we know that it's of the kingdom. We know that it's from the Ruach. And we just thank y'all for, and I'm pretty sure that anybody else that knows the young man can attest that he is a godsend. And we just thank Yahuah for him. Amen. And just be looking out for many more testimonies from the Abraham Chronicles. Amen.
Yes, I'd like to say something about that little boy, my grandson. We were going for a walk one day, and while we was walking, there was a man walking by, and he turned around and he held his hand out and said, "Be careful, be careful." And see, that to me, I knew God was using him with that. Yeah. I knew God was using him, and I just said amen. And he already said the prayer, wasn't that's what else for me to say.
Amen. Amen.
God was using him then, and he could have been more than 3 years old at the time.
Yeah.
He could have been 3 years old at the time. And I remember one time, Wesley, when he was just a baby, I don't think he was a year old yet, that you were telling us how he was sick.
Yeah.
You were sick, you had a fever.
It was a rising, and I think I had got to the point where it had begun to cause infection because I had to get an antibiotic for it, but it was like real bad to where I had to stay in the bed, like it was huge. And I couldn't walk or anything, and he prayed, he put his hand on me, and I don't know, at the time he was
Probably about 1,
He
2.
was one then, I think.
Yeah.
Man, y'all know I got a handful of testimonies. I was still smoking weed. And he walked up to the door and said, God said, stop it.
Amen.
And,
yes,
yeah, so,
I remember that.
So, now I want y'all to, I'm going to tell y'all something. Now, this is where I went through my faith journey at, because I had just took a random drug test at my job. And this is how the enemy will allow us to stay in our ignorance. So, I stopped, I put it out, and I went in the house, and I said to mom, before I even said it though, she said, did he just say God said stop it? I said, that's what I thought he said. And I mean, he was, you know how when a person yelling at you, you can see the veins in their neck. And I mean, he was yelling at the top of his lungs. I mean, he wasn't even one. I mean, he wasn't even that tall. And you just see this little bitty baby in the door just yelling, God said stop it. And I mean, he was yelling it so loud, I mean, so hard through that door, I could see his veins in his neck and his forehead start to appear. And so that just freaked me out. So I went outside and tried to smoke the rest of it later on that night. And it hit me clear as day. I went in the house and I don't, because all I kept hearing was his little voice yelled at. I went in the house, I dumped everything I had. I mean, I don't care if it was alcohol, everything, just started dumping it. And I was just like, I'm done. I got to live right for y'all. And that began my testimony of faith. I went through that was my Moses Chronicles there. You know what, I might go back and do a Moses Chronicles. Because I had to learn how to totally trust and depend on y'all, because I lost my job for smoking weed. Lost my job, and then I had to totally depend on him. But disobedience, I still, a testimony came forth from.
Amen.
Because I learned, and it helped me grow. Amen. I went back through the wilderness. I went back again. I was going through it for a while, and then y'all told me, He said, you can't be a repeater like what my people in the church is doing. He said that you're not gonna be a religious head. I want you to learn my ways. So in my prayer, I say, y'all teach me your statutes, your laws, your ways, and how to be obedient to them.
And that's when he began to teach him about Shabbat, his Shabbat day, his Sabbath day. He began to tell
Actually, I was already keeping the Sabbath.
But I'm saying he had already started instilling you about Hebrew ways, telling him about how to honor him in Hebrew ways, because when we first started out, he said, but I got to do Bible study on every Saturday. Every Saturday I got to do Bible study. And he began to do Bible study with us on every Saturday. And I mean, he was coming so hard at us guys that it was like, man, he just cutting us down.
I had to learn.
And you know, I thank him so much, and I thank his mom and dad, Evangelist Smith, she's on the line, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, because it came from them training him up in the way they should go. And like I said, I wasn't trained up in the way I should go, and I feel so bad, because my testimony is that I was trying to be a mom at the time, but I didn't realize that I had to train my kids up. And I feel so responsible for their lives now. But Yahuah, he reminded me, and he told me that it doesn't matter what you did, your blessings went over to your generation, to the next generation. So your kids are going all 7 of them. Even my stepkids, he honored all 7 of them.
That makes it 7. So
that makes 7, because he had 3, I had 3, and we had 1 together. And he said all 7 of them will be saved and baptized in my name. So I thank him on today for honoring me through that, because I felt so bad because I didn't train them up. I was always trying to work, trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to think the worldly way was the right way. But I had to come to learn that I had to separate myself. And even, you know, when like everyone was saying, even in our disobedience, when I started church, I just was like, something just ain't right. What is going on with me? And he started showing me so much, and I was like, I just don't want to be in church anymore. So before I would stray away, he'll come back and he'll remind me of how good he was. I had a prophet call and tell me, you need to stand at the door. So he began to show me in songs what David said, I'll be a gatekeeper in the house, hallelujah, of Yahuah. A doorkeeper in the house of Yahusha. So I'd rather be a doorkeeper anytime. And a lot of times I stood up there in pain, y'all. My legs, my knees were hurting, but I stood in pain, knowing that that day I did a work for Yahuah. And a lot of times we go through so much on a day-to-day basis where people think, oh, Christians, so they just do this, they do this, they do this. But we got to realize that Yahuah told us. See, we forget about this scripture. And this is my scripture. Yahuah told us that any man that come after him, we got to deny ourselves, people. We got to learn to deny ourselves. The money that we get are not our money. We got more. We should distribute it back to others. He said, be a cheerful giver. He said, any man come after me must deny themselves, take up their stake. We got to take up our stake, our cross. That means you're going to suffer something. But he said, blessed are those who suffer for the name's sake of Yahuah. Blessed are us who suffer for the name's sake of Yahuah Elohim. Blessed are us. And then follow behind him. But so many times we want to get ahead of him. And when we get ahead of him, guess what? He can't go ahead and make our crook way straight. But we got to let them know. We got to be an evidence of how he done won the victory. He already done won the victory. He told us to rejoice. For I have overcome this world. He already done went through everything. We just got to go behind him. And trust and believe that he don't went ahead of us and made our crook way straight. So many times we don't been down to our last sin and somebody will come in, oh, here you go. Especially at church. I be there at church. Some women, they'll just, here you go. Not knowing we didn't have enough food. And I said, thank you, Yahusha. We'll go to the grocery store. When he said Emmanuel didn't lack nothing, he would not lack nothing. He haven't lacked nothing. And that's because of Yahuah. So guys, we're here to tell you guys that if you want witness, you want confirmation, you need proof, you need manifestation, start opening your heart up on today and ask Yahusha to enter in. He's standing at the door. He's right there waiting on you to open your heart unto him. And as you begin to open your heart unto him, he would then put his Ruach HaKodesh inside of you. And his Ruach HaKodesh will begin, hallelujah, to manifest himself unto you. He will begin to cleanse you out of your old ways and make you new. He will renew the spirit of your mind. He will clothe you with righteousness. He will clothe you with salvation. He will clothe you with the truth. He will clothe you with peace. He will clothe you with his word. He will clothe you with his light of armor. He will put his armor on you. But we got to let him in. Today he is calling for his children each and every day, not just only today, for salvation, for deliverance from sin. He's calling out unto you with his arms wide open, because it tells us that he loves all his children. And so many times I've been reading that different people say there's danger at the threshing floor, but at the threshing floor, he tells me there's room for all his servants. There's room for all his servants at his threshing floor. So many times, a lot of his servants in the world went to the threshing floor. When you go down on your face, you're going at the threshing floor. When you come to him, and in truth and in spirit, worshiping him, you're going to his threshing floor. When you come to his feet, you're at his threshing floor. And he's crying out for the awakening with his children. Yahuah loves us all. That's why he sent Yahusha back. That's why Yahusha sent back the Ruach HaKodesh. So it may be a witness for us. But we're asking on today, you don't heard many witnesses' testimony of how good Yahuah has been, even in our disobedience, even in our not being saved, and even not having salvation. He has always kept us, lead and guide us to the right way. So he's crying out for us to open that door today. Let him be your master builder of your vessel, because this vessel belongs to him. Let him enter in and cleanse you out and make you new.
Amen.
Anybody on the phone line had any last request or any last words?
Praise God, everybody. Just be blessed and have a great life, and obey the Spirit of the Lord.
Amen. Amen.
And remember, you are overcome by your testimony through the blood of the Lamb, YAHUSHA, HaMashiach.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
We would like you guys to subscribe, comment, and share this page. And if you have any questions or anything about anything you want to ask us, just comment at the bottom of the page. We're always here to answer any question, but if we don't know the answer, we'll ask Yahuah to reveal the answers to us or reveal the answer to you. But we would not answer a question without going to him in prayer. So we thank you guys. We love you guys. Always remember to say,
Thank you, YAHUSHA.
Love you.
Talk to
Y'all
you
bless
soon.
you.